Have you ever felt the burning desire to scream at someone who betrayed you? To make them feel the exact same pain they inflicted on you? We've all been there. But what if I told you that your anger is actually the fuel they are desperate for? What if the most devastating punishment you could ever inflict wasn't a shout, but a whisper? Stay with me, because today we are handing you the ultimate weapon. Welcome back to INVICTUS X. Today, we are not talking about revenge in the traditional sense. We aren't talking about lowering yourself into the mud to wrestle with pigs. We are talking about a psychological shift so profound that the ancient Stoics identified it as the ultimate power move over 2,000 years ago. We are going to explore how to become a ghost to those who hurt you, how to use the deafening power of silence to shatter their ego without ever raising a finger. By the end of this video, you will understand why your absence is far more terrifying to a manipulator than your presence ever could be. Let's start with a hard truth. When someone hurts you, whether it's a toxic partner, a jealous coworker, or a fake friend, they are usually operating from a script. In their mind, they push a button, disrespect, and you provide a specific output, anger, tears, or defense. It is a transaction. They are purchasing your peace of mind with their cruelty. But what happens when the vending machine is broken? What happens when they insert the coin of insult and nothing comes out? The transcript of the video you're about to understand touches on a critical point. What truly destroys the one who tried to hurt you isn't revenge, it's your indifference. This is the core of the psychological blow. When you react, you are validating their existence. You are telling them, you are significant enough to ruin my day. But when you offer them nothing, not even a frown, you are effectively erasing them from your reality. As we've seen in insights from Glasp regarding Stoic philosophy, specifically from the teachings of Epictetus, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgments about them. The manipulator wants you to judge their action as catastrophic so they can control your emotional state. When you refuse to judge it, you refuse to be controlled. Let me tell you a story to illustrate this. Imagine a man named David. David worked in a high-pressure corporate office. His manager, let's call him Steve, was the type of person who thrived on chaos. Steve would publicly belittle David in meetings, waiting for David to snap, to argue back, or to look defeated. For months, David went home angry, venting to his wife, letting Steve live rent-free in his head. Steve was winning because he controlled David's evenings. One day, David decided to change the game. The next time Steve made a snide remark about David's presentation in front of the board, David didn't flush red. He didn't stutter. He simply paused, looked at Steve with a calm, neutral expression for 3 seconds, and then turned back to the board and continued his presentation as if Steve hadn't spoken. It was brutal. The silence in the room was heavier than any shout. By ignoring the insult, David highlighted its absurdity. Steve looked petty and unprofessional, while David looked like a leader. This aligns with a powerful concept found on Glasp regarding the wild beast analogy in Eastern philosophy. It suggests that an evil friend or colleague is more dangerous than a wild beast, because while a beast wounds the body, the toxic person wounds the mind. David realized that by engaging, he was allowing his mind to be wounded. By disengaging, he became a mirror. When you don't absorb the toxicity, it bounces off you and reflects right back onto the person who sent it. They are forced to stare at their own ugliness. This technique is often called the gray rock method in modern psychology, but the Stoics mastered it centuries ago. The idea is to become as uninteresting and unresponsive as a gray rock. The video mentions that your absence becomes the punishment. This is profoundly true. Narcissists and manipulators crave attention, positive or negative. They are emotional vampires. If you scream at them, you're feeding them, you're giving them supply. Think about the time someone tried to bring you down. Why did they do it? Usually, it's because they feel small and they need to stand on your back to feel tall. If you lie down and let them, they win. If you fight and wrestle, you both get dirty. But if you simply step aside, they fall flat on their face. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, famously said, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." This is a key insight I found on Glasp while researching Aurelius's quotes. If you retaliate with anger, you become just like them, bitter, reactive, and small. By maintaining your composure, you preserve your character. You prove that your dignity is not up for negotiation. There's a specific phase that happens when you go silent. At first, the person who hurt you will be annoyed. They might ramp up their attacks, trying to get a rise out of you. This is the extinction burst, the final tantrum before they give up. But if you hold the line, annoyance turns to doubt. Why aren't they reacting? Do I not matter to them? Did I lose my touch? The transcript accurately describes this as a mental prison where they will be their own jailer. Imagine the ex-partner who cheated on you. They expect you to call, to cry, to demand answers. When you simply block them and vanish, you deny them closure. You deny them the narrative where they are the heartbreaker. Instead, they are just gone. You turn them into a ghost. This silence is not passive, it is active. It is a wall of ice. As Seneca warned, engaging with fools is a trap for your dignity. When you walk away without a goodbye, you take all the power with you. You leave them holding the bag of their own guilt and shame. Now, what do you do with all that energy you saved by not arguing? You reinvest it into yourself. Your success is the ultimate humiliation. This is the fourth and perhaps most satisfying stage. While they're stuck in the past analyzing why you didn't react, you are building your future. Let's go back to David. Because he stopped wasting energy on Steve, he focused entirely on his work. 6 months later, David was promoted to a different department, outranking Steve. He didn't do it to spite Steve, he did it for himself. But the look on Steve's face, that was the byproduct of David's focus. There is a beautiful concept in Stoicism about amor fati, loving your fate. Instead of seeing the hurt as a tragedy, view it as the catalyst that pushed you to level up. If that person hadn't hurt you, you might have stayed comfortable. You might have stayed stagnant. In a way, you should thank them. Their betrayal was the fire that forged your steel. We've talked about the why, but let's talk about the how. Because let's be honest, when you are hurt, your heart races, your adrenaline spikes, you want to fight. How do you override biology? 1. The 24-hour rule. Never respond to a disrespectful text or email immediately. Write the draft if you must, then delete it. Wait 24 hours. The emotion will fade and logic will return. 2. The view from above. This is a Stoic exercise. Imagine looking at your conflict from the sky. You see two tiny people on a tiny planet. Does this argument really matter in the grand scheme of the universe? Usually the answer is no. 3. Mantras. Have a phrase ready. I am the master of my soul. Or simply, this does not belong to me. When they throw insults, visualize them as gifts. If you don't accept the gift, who does it belong to? It stays with the giver. In a world that constantly begs for your attention and reaction, your silence is a rebellion. It is a declaration of independence. Remember, the person who hurt you expects chaos. They expect you to break. Do not give them the satisfaction. Give them the silence. Let them sit in the void of your absence. Let them realize that they were not the main character in your movie. They were just an extra who got written out of the script because they couldn't act right. A strong person doesn't need to shout to be heard. Their presence is felt in their composure, and their absence is felt like a phantom limb. If you are ready to take back your power, I want you to make a promise to yourself today. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. If this message resonated with you, share your own silent victory in the comments below. How have you used indifference to handle a difficult situation? We want to hear your story. And don't forget to subscribe to INVICTUS X for more wisdom on becoming the master of your own mind. Until next time, remember, silence is not empty. It is full of answers.